প্রিয় দর্শক, আসসালামু আলাইকুম। কোর ভিশন ফাউন্ডেশনের উদ্যোক্তা উন্নয়ন কার্যক্রম ভিশন ফর সাকসেসে স্বাগতম। দর্শক, সফলতা আমাদের সবার কাম্য। প্রতিটি ক্ষেত্রেই আমরা এর জন্য করছি প্রতিযোগিতা, কিন্তু সফলতার সংজ্ঞা, এর মাপকাঠি কি আমরা জানি? সম্পদ, নাম, ক্ষমতা পেলেই কি আমি সফল? কোরআন ও সুন্নাহর আলোকে এসব প্রশ্নের উত্তর খুঁজতেই কোর ভিশন ফাউন্ডেশনের উদ্যোক্তা উন্নয়ন কার্যক্রম ভিশন ফর সাকসেস। আমাদের আজকের আলোচনা, The danger of literal understanding of religious text. Our speaker today, Imam Shamsi Ali. Brother, assalamu alaikum. How are you today? So, why you choose this topic, the danger of literal understanding of the religious text?
The reason I'm choosing this topic because I think we have seen in the past many severe evil consequences of that literal understanding of religious text. And I would like to have our viewers' attention that this is not only Islamic issue. This is the issue of all religions. In the Bible, there's a lot of bloody verses. The Bible, for example, says that when you enter into a city, when you are at war, then you have to eliminate everything. You have to kill animals, you have to kill even ants, you have to demolish houses, you have to kill women, children. This is very bloody verses of the Bible. Similarly, in other holy books, we are talking about Hindu books and Jewish and Christians. So when it comes to the Holy Quran, there is no doubt that the Holy Quran also deals with some issues of war, some issues of interaction between Muslims and non-Muslims. And if we don't understand this within proper context, that may mislead Muslim into a very dangerous understanding. In the past decade, for example, how we see the situation in the Muslim Ummah where some Muslims are kind of hating others. They don't like others. They don't like it's okay, but hate others simply because they are other than us. They are different. They have different faiths, different beliefs. That is absolutely wrong in the religion, because Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had come as mercy to all humanity. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. And I did not send you, O Muhammad, except as a mercy to all humanity. So to hate anybody simply because they are different faith, different practices, for us, that is simply un-Islamic. It is against the teaching of Islam. So we can choose some of verses from the Holy Quran, some hadith also from the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. But before that, a few days ago, someone massacred over 40 people, like 49 people in Orlando. Although he was ignorant, he was, I can use the word, he was stupid of Islam. He didn't know Islam at all. In fact, he was an evil. He was not representing Islam in terms of personal life. He didn't practice Islam. But when he committed that, evil act, he shouted and saying, in the name of Islam, whatever. Even I heard that he said, Allahu Akbar. I don't know if that's really true. But the point is that there are many things that some Muslims doing around in the name of Islam, which is absolutely against Islam. Not only that it is not Islam, but it's against Islam. So I give you several verses from the Holy Quran that many of our Muslim brothers and sisters that tend to misunderstand or understand out of context. Let's begin with this ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do not take Jews and Christians as friends. لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء. Do not take them as wilaya, wali. Now, the literal understanding of this wali is friend, because that's what the translation in many English translations. It means you cannot be friend with Jews and Christians. And unfortunately, some Muslims take that very seriously and literally sometimes, and they say, since we cannot be friends, so it means we have to consider them as enemies. When you consider them as enemies, then you have to build hatred. When you build the hatred, then you are going to be suspicious. We are going to, possibly if you have a chance, you're going to do harm against them. So all these, from the beginning to the end, are wrong in Islam. It is
even some imams and Islamic scholars are preaching like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, some imams and scholars around, they are satisfied with one book that they read. They're reading one book, they follow particular textbooks, and they feel that they know every single thing in Islam. And some of those imams really don't speak Arabic very well. They don't know the root of the word in the Holy Quran. They just know the translation, and they came to a conclusion. So coming back again, when the Muslims read, لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء, do not take Jews and Christians as awliya, and awliya have been translated simplistically as friends, they say we cannot be friends with Jews and Christians. And that's why if you go to the Muslim lands, there's a lot of people there, basically hate Jews particularly. They hate Jews in particular because of the issue of Palestine and Israel. But even before the conflict of Palestine and Israel, basically, there is a tendency among the Muslims not to like Jews that much. Although the history says something else. You see, when the Muslim was in power in Spain, for example, Jewish people were given opportunity to live in peace with Muslims, Christians also as well. But afterwards, Muslims developed dislikeness, or if you can use the word, hatred toward the Jewish people, because of some ayat like this. لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء. Do not take Jews and Christians as awliya. Now, if you see more deeper, you learn more deeper, what does it mean to be wilaya, wali? It is not basically friendship that we understand on daily basis. In fact, the opposite, if you come to Islam, you can be friends with Hindus, Buddhists, Jews, Christians, every human being. Those who don't believe in God, even you can be friends with them. Because believing in God is something that is a freedom of choice to do. La ikraha fi din, there is no compulsion in the religion. So if someone out there says, I don't believe in God, you have the right to say, no, God exists. He's the one who created us. Let's believe it. If they still insist not to believe in God, la ikraha fi din, there is no compulsion in the religion. So you cannot hate somebody simply because they don't follow what you want, or they don't believe what you believe in. So coming back, the word wilaya, wali, is not just friendship. Friendship, the word wilaya means guardianship. The word guardianship means someone who has authority over you to tell you what to do and what not to do, in religion in particular. And the historical backgrounds of this ayah is about Arab people in Medina. Before Islam came, before Prophet Muhammad ﷺ moved to Medina, the Arab people in Medina used to make Jews and Christians as their guardians in religion. If they wanted to ask about religion, they go to the Jews, they went to the Jews, they went to the Christians, and asked them about religion. When Prophet Muhammad moved to Medina, then Islam came and said, no, they are not your wali anymore. They are not your teachers anymore. You have the Prophet as your teacher. And that's why the Quran came down that you cannot take Jews and Christians anymore as your religious sources. Now you have the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ as the source of the religion. But how about friendship? Yes, continue being friends with them. And so again, this is a very dangerous translation. And particularly those who are living in a non-Muslim society, majority non-Muslim society, it is very dangerous to take this literal, because you cannot live without non-Muslim around you. It's Christians, Jews, and everybody around you. And if you feel that they are not your friends, then you cannot be smiling with them. And if you don't
particularly in USA, there is a minority of the Muslim.
Yes, particularly in the US. You have a very strong Jewish community, very strong Christian community, and the only way to continue our work, to work on life here, is to be friends with everybody. And that's why I myself, I'm building friendship with Christians and Jews, and I think they have a lot of respect of me because of the understanding that we can be friends even though we have differences, even a fundamental difference. Of course, I cannot say I agree with the Christian people in terms of theology. They believe in Trinity. I believe in oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They believe in Jesus Christ as Son of God. I do believe in Jesus as prophet. So we have a very fundamental difference, yet we can still be friends. Why? Because there are a lot of things that we can do together.
So what other verses you can refer?
Come to a particular community, the Jewish community. There is a verse in the Holy Quran says, لَتَجِدَنَّ أَشَدَّ النَّاسِ عَدَاوَةً لَلْيَهُودُ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. You will find that mostly hateful to you, the most hateful group to you, are Jewish people and the pagans. Now, if you take this literal, I think you can see many paradoxes, many contradictions. Because in fact, in America, in time that some candidate, presidential candidate, attack Islam on daily basis, they bash Islam on daily basis, such as Donald Trump, I can assure you that thousands of Jewish people, including rabbis, came to our defense. And the closest presidential candidate to the Muslim community happened to be a Jew, Bernie Sanders. So this is the fact. So how are you going to translate this verse of the Holy Quran that the Jewish people are the most hateful to you? We have to understand its context. The Jewish people in Medina, before Prophet Muhammad ﷺ moved to Medina, hijrah to Medina, they were the most privileged community, the most honorable community. They are rich, they are more educated, more civilized, so the people respected them a lot. They consider the Jewish people as advisors. Anything happened, they come to them, ask for advices. Now when Prophet Muhammad ﷺ moved to Medina, that privilege shifted to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. The Medina agreed to appoint Prophet Muhammad as the king, to be president, to be the leader. So naturally, as a social beings, the Jewish people did not feel good. There is a kind of hasad in Arabic language, kind of envy that took place in the heart of the Jewish people. And because of that, some people did not like Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. They truly hated Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And it happened at the time because of the social situation, political situation. But when it changed our situation. Now you see in America these days, particularly in the last 10 days.
We'll take a short break. Dear viewers, you are watching Vision for Success. Stay with us. Dear viewers, welcome back. You are watching Vision for Success. Here with us, Imam Shamsi Ali. Yes, brother.
Yes, so coming back to that ayah in the Holy Quran, لَتَجِدَنَّ أَشَدَّ النَّاسِ عَدَاوَةً لَلْيَهُودِ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. You will find the most hateful to you are Jews and the pagans. This has its own context, and I mentioned that earlier. So when we see this very closely, and we see the circumstances in the field, down in our environment, we can basically find a very clear interpretation. I was in a meeting, and it was attended by many scholars. One of those attended was Mufti Mustafa Cerik from Bosnia. He's a very big scholar. And I was reminded by this verse of the Holy Quran that Jewish people don't like us the most. So I asked him, because he's a Bosnian, and he just experienced tremendously bad situation in Bosnia because the Serb massacred Bosnian people. So I asked him, Ya Sheikh, who hated you the most? The Jews or who? Because the Holy Quran says the Jews are the most hateful to us, to the Christians. And he was laughing. He said, for me, I do believe in the Quran, 100% true. But for me, it is not my context. I have different context. For me, it is not Jews who hated me most. Who hated me most? Christians. Because Serbs are Christians. And the Serb people massacre Bosnian people in thousands and thousands. It's not Jews. In fact, some Jews coming to the defense of the Muslims. So, and then I met with an Indian Muslim. I also wanted to test this ayah in him as a Muslim in India. Who hated you most in India? Is it Jews? And I said, no, almost we don't have any Jew in India. So who hated you? He said, the Hindu people. Because Hindu people, burn Babri Mosque. They're killing mosques in different places. There is a tension between Muslims and Hindu people in India. So it's not a Jewish people who hate me. So who hate you? Hindu people. And then recently, I met also with a Muslim from Myanmar, from Burma. And I asked him the same question because it reminds me the ayah in the Holy Quran that Jewish people hate us the most. And I happen to be building a relation with the Jewish people. So I wanted to test my knowledge about this. So I asked him, Who hated you the most in Myanmar? And they say the Buddhists. Do you have Jews? No, we don't have Jews. Do you think the Jewish people hate you most? No. Jewish people even came, bring some aids, helping some Myanmar's people in the border of Thailand. So what is the meaning of this? It means each incident has its own circumstance, its own context. And you cannot just simply read one ayah of the Holy Quran and take a general conclusion, because it is very dangerous. And that's what the problem of some Muslims in the Muslim countries. There are some American policies that we don't like. Coming to Iraq, invading Afghanistan, for example, engaging in war in some areas in the name of democracy, killing Muslims, women, children. Of course, we don't like this kind of policy. But to generalize saying that America hates Muslims, that is wrong. Because America, in many ways, is one of the most tolerant countries. I'm talking about the country. I'm talking about the governments and the policy and the constitution. I'm not talking about individuals on the street like Donald Trump. I'm talking about the political system in America. And America is, not, if not the most, one of the most tolerant countries towards Islam. In fact, we can practice Islam here in this country.
Yeah, true.
We can
because
pray.
we are practicing here in a free environment that we cannot do even in our country.
Exactly. I mean, one of the best examples I used to give everywhere when I wanted to prove that America is so tolerant, that you can go out and criticize the president.
Yeah.
You can criticize the president as harsh as you want. You can say anything that you want about the president. You know, some people have already said the president is like chimpanzee, like African, you know. And this is normal in a democratic society. He was not offended. So you can go and criticize Barack Obama, and you will be free. But go to the Muslim country and criticize these kings and amirs and presidents in the Muslim nation. Tomorrow you'll be in jail. If not, you're going to be killed. And you don't find that in the United States of America. So I can say that one of the issues that Muslims are facing is generalization. You know, sometimes one case happens and we make that case as a general in a situation, and that is simply not wrong. Now, there are many other verses in the Holy Quran. Take, for example, and this is also for our non-Muslim friends who happen to watch. For example, the Holy Quran says, and kill them whenever you find them. وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ مِنْ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُمْ. Kill them whenever you find them. Now, why this verse? Because the people don't read verses before and verses after. They read this part of the verse of the Holy Quran and they take a conclusion. So it is not full understanding of the verse. So what is the meaning of kill them whenever you find them? When you are engaged in a battlefield, in war, then you have to kill your enemy whenever you find them. Otherwise, you're going to be killed. Because when you are at war, there is only two possibilities. You kill them or you're going to be killed. And that's why when you have an opportunity to kill your enemy, kill your enemies, because otherwise we are going to be killed. Even though Islam still gives an opportunity for the Muslim, if there is still chance to be peaceful, then you have to engage in peace. You cannot just kill like killing anybody else, blindly. And so again, coming back, there's a lot of religious texts, Quran and a hadith that have been taken literally by the Muslims. I give you just one of a hadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. There is a hadith says that ad-dunya jifa. This dunya is like that animal. And whoever is hunting the dunya, he is just like hunting that animal. Now some Muslim scholars try to discourage the Muslim from looking for dunya, because they tend to say that dunya is nothing, it's not important. Even though they are hypocrisy, because they are also looking for money.
Yes.
You know, sometimes some of our scholars basically they want to give lecture unless you pay them. You know, so and so there's hypocrisy that happen, and then they discourage the Muslim not to do business, not to be successful, because they say dunya is not important, and they take these hadith as justification. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said this hadith because he saw his ummah was so much into this dunya. Day in and out, they are thinking about dunya. And sometimes Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, in the way they reminded the people, they reminded them in a very extreme way, so that they can think about it. And they say, running for this dunya, for the purpose of dunya alone, it will be like just that animal. At the end of the time, it will be rotten. Because if you have the whole this dunya, but nothing but for dunya, at the end of the time, it will be just nothing for you. You're going to die, or this dunya is going to leave you behind. So either you leave the dunya, or dunya is going to leave you. And when it happens, you're going to be regretful, because, you accumulate money, thousands, millions, billions of money, and then you have this money in your saving account, investments, and then you die. And then what after that? That's what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ reminded us, that don't only hunt the dunya for the purpose of dunya, but look for the dunya for the purpose of your happiness in the hereafter. And that's the difference between Muslims and those who do not believe in the akhirah in terms of looking for dunya. Because for Muslim, looking for dunya means you have to do it. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, "Ad-dunya mazra'atul akhirah." This dunya is the place for you to plan for your akhirah. If you want to have some fruit in the akhirah, good food in the akhirah, then you have to plant here. You have to plant your rice, your corn, your grapes, so that you can have the fruit in the hereafter. How are you going to have if you don't do it? So there is a very beautiful hadith that happened at the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He asked his companions, his Sahaba, and he said, if you have a seed in your hand, and you know that you're going to die the following day, what are you going to do with the seed? You have the seed to plant, but you know that you're going to die the next day. What do you have to do? Are you going to throw it away? Some Sahaba say, yes, it's useless. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, no, you still have to plant it. Why? He said, because even if you don't have the result, you don't have the fruit, maybe some other people are coming, and through their taking the fruit, you are going to be given reward by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if no human being, animal may come and eat it. And that's why you're still being given reward by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the meaning of that you must continue looking for this dunya. So you cannot use the hadith as a justification for you to discourage the people to look for this dunya. And the Quran is very clear. فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةُ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. If salat is done, then you have to get out. Look for your business. Okay.
So we'll take a short break and come back. Dear viewers, you're watching Vision for Success. Stay with us. Dear viewers, welcome back. You are watching Vision for Success. Here with us, Imam Shamsi Ali. And another thing is, like, we quote verses from Holy Quran, like Qulillahumma malikal mulk, that wealth and everything is given by God. We have nothing to do with.
Theologically, from our iman, we do believe that every single thing is basically destined by God, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But qadr is not without human intervention. Because as I used to say, there is no free coffee in America. Everything is with struggle. Everything is with works. And so in Islam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says something, it means we have to follow it up. For example, even dua. Allah says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. If my servants ask you, O Muhammad, concerning me, tell them I am close to them. Ujibu da'wat ad-da'i. I respond to the prayer. I respond to the dua. And then the Holy Quran says, فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. But you have to fulfill my da'wah. You have to fulfill the requirements. And according to the scholars, the meaning of requirements, then even if you ask Allah directly, Allah will not give you unless you do the requirements. And what are the requirements? Depends on what you're asking Allah. You're asking Allah, if you're a single person, you're asking Allah to be married, for example, to marry someone. And if you're not looking for a candidate, Allah will not give you. You stay home and you say, Allah, give me my spouse, give me my wife if you're a husband, if you're a man, or give me a husband if you're a woman. But you don't do anything. How come Allah is coming and bring you someone from the heaven? Of course not. So Allah says, فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. You have to fulfill my requirements. You have to fulfill my invitation. Now you ask me, but I invite you to do. So when I say, قُلِ اللَّهُمَّ مَالِكَ الْمُلْكِ, Allah is giving the kingdom whom He will. It means you have to struggle so that Allah will give you that kingdom. And that's why we are talking about political engagement. We are talking about political process. And particularly in the democratic society, you have to take part. It is not just given for granted. You cannot just sit down and hope that Allah will make you powerful, Allah will make you mayor, Allah will make you city councilman. You have to empower yourself. You have to earn some money so they can pay your campaign. It's not easy. You have to attract the sympathy of the people. So you have to get out and engage with the people. So, قُلِ اللَّهُمَّ مَالِكَ الْمُلْكِ is a kind of that Allah telling them that if you do the job, certainly I will make you a king. But you have to do the job. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the center of everything. He's the source of power. He's the source of knowledge. He's the source of everything. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching every creature, not only human beings, but even a small ant in the ground. Allah teach them how to get food. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of knowledge. But we cannot gain knowledge unless we learn. And that's why Allah himself say, Iqra, read. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. You have to struggle to find knowledge. Afala ta'aqilun, don't you think, don't you reflect, don't you ponder. All this is a process of getting knowledge. Even though we do believe that Allah is teaching. Allah is giving us knowledge. Allama al-Quran. He's the one who teaches us the Holy Quran. So I don't have to read the Holy Quran because Allah teach me? Of course not. I have to read it. I have to try to understand the meaning, trying to understand the tafsir, and then deeper than just tafsir, but try to exercise my mind to understand even in a wider sense of the Holy Quran. So again, this kind of understanding of Allah's power is wrong. And even Qadar itself, the definition of Qadar means that Allah will decide for you at the end of the time after doing your job. Qadar is not given for granted. Qadar is something being decided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through your struggle. And sometimes your struggle is not coming to the end of result. There's no result. That's fine, because at the end of the day, Allah knows which one is better for you. Let's say you are struggling to be a pharmacist, but after studying pharmacy, you're not becoming a pharmacist because for whatever the reason, you don't open your own store, so you're not becoming a pharmacist. So what happened to you? Instead, you are doing some managerial job in the offices. Why it happened? You have asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have tried your best to become a pharmacist, because possibly, maybe Allah knows what is your capacity. And that is the meaning of Qadr. So Qadr means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided what we have tried, but if Allah decides something else, that is also Qadr. And whatever Allah decides at the end, we accept it. And that acceptance is the real satisfaction. That is what rich. لَيْسَ الْغِنَى عَنْ كَثْرَةِ الْعَرَضِ وَلَكِنَّ الْغِنَى غِنَى النَّفْسِ. Rich is not how much money you have at hand, but rich is how do you have that perception in your heart about the money. If Allah gives you 100 and you are satisfied, that is what makes you rich. But if you have $1 million, but you don't feel anything that it's enough for you, you are not a rich person. That's what rich basically. So again, at the end of the day, that's what Qadr is all about. But Qadr is not just giving it, making you lazy. You have to do every possible way to gain it.
We'll continue this process in the next episode also. What is your advice for our viewers?
I just wanted to say, I think particularly to the scholars, to those Maulanas, Malwi, Imam, Sheikh, whatever your titles are, you have to be very careful in understanding religious text, Quran and Hadith. Because otherwise, number one, it is very dangerous. Number two, it's misleading. I say it is dangerous because it can lead our young people into a very dangerous act. Many, many radicals and extremists, even terrorists, in the name of the religion, because of this misunderstanding of the text, literal understanding of the text. And that's why I say the danger of understanding religious text literal.
Thank you very much, Imam Shamsul Ali, being with us. দর্শক, ভুল জ্ঞান, ভুল ব্যাখ্যা, ভুল পদক্ষেপ আমাদের সবার জীবনকে দুর্বিষহ করে তুলতে পারে। সফলতার জন্য অপরিহার্য হচ্ছে সঠিক জ্ঞান। আসুন ইসলামকে সঠিকভাবে জানি। অপরিহার্য হচ্ছে ভিশনারি হওয়া। ভিশনারি উদ্যোক্তারাই বদলে দিতে পারেন সমাজ ও অর্থনীতি। ভিশন, আত্মবিশ্বাস এবং ধারাবাহিক চেষ্টা এনে দিতে পারে সাফল্য। আসুন সফলতার জন্য সেভাবেই চেষ্টা করি। নতুন প্রজন্মকে ভিশনারি উদ্যোক্তা হতে এবং ইতিবাচক ভাবতে শেখাই। অনুষ্ঠান সম্পর্কে আপনার পরামর্শ মতামত লিখুন visionforsuccessusa@gmail.com। অনুষ্ঠানটি প্রচারিত হবে প্রতিদিন রাত ৯টায়, পুনঃপ্রচার সকাল ১১টা এবং দুপুর ২:৩০। ইনশাআল্লাহ আবারও দেখা হবে আগামীকাল এই সময় এখানে টাইম টিভিতে। আসসালামু আলাইকুম।